application. To generate jar file or war file of our application, we will go for package goal. Package to generate jar or war file of our application. Okay. Next, install. We have not discussed about the install goal. Today we will talk about install. Install goal. What is the purpose? To install our project as a dependency in local repo. To install our project as a dependency in local repo, we are going for install goal. Alright, now let me tell you when we need to go for install goal. Guys, let's understand this. Now, I want to develop one project. I want to develop one project. This is my application. I want to develop one project. This is my application. In my application, I want to use Spring Framework. In my application, I want to use Spring Framework. Spring Framework is our framework, or Spring is developed by some other company. Spring is our framework, or Spring is developed by some company. Spring Framework developed by some company. That framework we want to use in our project. We are developing one application. As part of our application, we want to use Spring Framework. Okay. Now, I want to use Spring Framework in my app project. I want to use Spring Framework in my app development, in my app project. Okay. Tell me how many ways I can use Spring in my app. Spring is third-party company project. Spring is developed by some other company. Now, I want to use Spring in my project. How many ways? I want to use a Spring Framework in my project. We can use a Spring Framework in two ways. We can use Spring Framework in two ways. Download and add the jars in my app project build path. Download jars and download Spring jars and add jars in my app build path. In my app build path. That is approach 1. That is approach 1. Approach 2, configure Spring dependency in my app pom.xml file. Pom.xml file. Now, this is approach 1. This is approach 1 and this is approach 2. This is approach 1 and this is approach 2. Samjha? How many ways we can use a Spring Framework? Spring Framework we can use in two ways. How many ways we can use a Spring? Spring Framework we can use in two ways. Download the Spring jar files and add the Spring jar files in project build path. That is old approach. Nowadays, people are downloading the jars manually, or people are using Maven dependencies. People are downloading the jars manually, or people are using Maven dependencies. People are downloading the jars manually, or people are using Maven dependencies. People are using Maven dependencies. Which one is recommended? Which one is recommended? Configuring Maven dependency is recommended. I want to use Spring Framework in my project. There are two ways available. One is my application can use Spring jar files in the build path manually. Second approach is we need to configure Spring dependency in my app pom.xml. Now, tell me which approach is recommended, guys. Tell me which approach is recommended now. Which approach is recommended? Maven dependency is recommended. Okay, that's perfect. So with this we understand how to add that Maven project, how to add the Spring in our My App application. That's perfect. Now let's see here, guys. I am developing one project called password utils. I'm developing one project with a name called password utils. Okay, now inside this I am having some methods to encrypt the password and decrypt the password. I'm developing some methods called encrypt password and decrypt password. Encrypt and decrypt. I'm developing some methods in my password utils project. Okay, this project I have developed and I have tested. Password encryption, password decryption is working as expected. Password encryption, password decryption is working as expected. Now, in my project, in my company, I have developed one project with a name called password utils, which contains encrypt and decrypt functionality. Can we develop that first and can we test it, guys? Encrypt decrypt functionality. Okay, let's go to IDE, file, new Maven project. File, new Maven project. Next, select the archetype as a quick start. Next, in .ashok IT, artifact ID I'm using as password utils. Okay, 02 password utils, that is my Maven project. Package name, I'm taking it as in.ashok ID. Click on finish. I'm just creating one Maven project. In that I want to write one password related functionality, encrypt and decrypt. Encrypt and decrypt methods I want to write it. Perfect. Project got created. So as we discussed earlier, it is taking 1.5 by default. Let's change it. Right click, build path, configure build path, edit this to Java 1.5, finish, apply and close. Perfect. Now go to here. Let's create one class with a name called password service. Password service. So here I will keep in.ashokit.security.service. Security service. I will take this name as password service. Password service. Perfect. Password service. Let's write one method called encrypt method and another method called decrypt method. Inside the password service I am taking public string encrypt, public string text. We are passing some text as a input for this method. This method should perform encryption for that. Okay, now here what I will do is base64, that is a predefined class available in the Java util package. I'm going to use base64 dot get encoder. Base64 dot get encoder, which is going to give us encoder object. By using that encoder object, I'm going to perform encoding. Right? Encoder dot encode to string. Encoder dot encode to string. It is expecting byte array. Text dot get bytes. Text dot get bytes, which is going to give us the encoded string, which is going to give us the encoded string or encoded text, whatever it is, encoded string. Finally, my method is going to return that encoded string. My method is going to return that encoded string. So here I'm using base 64 to perform this operation. I'm taking password service. Inside the password service, I am having a encrypt. There I am writing one logic which is used to encode the string. It is going to take the original string, then it will encode that and it will return. Let's check it. Is it working or not? I have a main method just for testing purpose, guys. Here, go to password service.
Recording in progress.
Base 64 dot get decoder. Base 64 dot get decoder. We are going to get the decoder object. Decoder dot decode. Decoder dot decode, which is expecting string, that is text.